guys, it's Shelby and I am officially a married woman. Obviously, today's video is me going to share how we threw a completely zero waste and vegan wedding in a very short time period, you guys. This was a very short, I planned this very quickly. Basically, my partner and I, Madison, we had always planned to get married on 10/10/2020. And when we originally started planning it, it was always gonna be small, always only going to be our immediate family, because more than that sounds like anxiety, and I just didn't want to deal with that on a day like that day. We were planning to have it at like a really small venue, like maybe at a resort or a hotel or something like that. And up until August, I basically, because of the virus, obviously, kept saying like, I don't know if we're gonna do anything, guys. Like, I kind of wrote off the idea of having a wedding because I didn't want anybody traveling. I didn't want to be going to like a hotel or a resort. I didn't want to be any part of contributing to that. So from March until August, I basically thought to myself, well, unless something drastic changes with this virus, which it doesn't look like it's going to, we just won't be having a wedding this year, and we'll just go get married at like the courthouse. Well, I literally know the date because I started recording clips for this video on August 8th. That is when I decided we were going to have a wedding at my parents' house in their backyard. So we did all of this in like 2 months, and I couldn't be more proud. I'm really excited to tell you how we did it, what we did, and all that kind of thing, and to be able to start sharing this experience with you. I've been kind of waiting to share about it until I could put this entire video together. So I also just wanted to say I am incredibly proud that we pulled this off, but like a moment I'm super proud of, there are multiple moments, we'll get to them, but one of the ones is when we stopped setting up, everything was set up and we were done, my mom looked at me and she goes, "Oh, where should we put the trash can?" And I said, "What do we need a trash can for?" And she stood there and looked at me and went, "I guess we don't need one." And I was like, exactly. So it's very exciting. I'm very excited to explain all this to you guys, and yeah, let's just get into it. This video is obviously about a smaller wedding, so for invites we chose not to do any. There are several options to do them more sustainably, which I'm gonna have a blog post once it's done linked in the description for you guys, where I'm going to leave all the information that I researched and all the sustainable options that I thought of, but ultimately didn't end up choosing for you to check out. So for instance here, I know of a company that do all their invites online for you. You can customize them. It's really, really great. I'm gonna have them linked below. You can also obviously buy ones made of recycled paper and all that kind of thing. But for us, a simple text message and or phone call was plenty because we only wanted to invite people we were already close to anyway. This wedding was my only chance to get my family to willingly eat vegan food because they had no other choice, because I was paying for it and it was my day. So the wedding was not Asian themed by any means, but Madison and I's favorite food is Chinese food, and specifically the place that we chose was the place that we went to on our first anniversary as a couple. Madison, my partner, her sister went into labor on the day of our 1-year anniversary. So basically we were coming from our college town to Houston to watch her nephew be born, and to celebrate our anniversary, really all we could do that night was go out to eat. So we went to this place, it's called Pepper Tree in Houston, if any of you want to check it out. They make amazing food, as you're going to learn. And so whenever we were thinking about what food we wanted to serve, it was a natural conclusion to come to, which was we both love Chinese food, that place is relatively close, and it's got great memories for us, and we think that even people who are not vegan will like this food. And sure enough, they did. I literally had members of my family ask me, "I thought you weren't gonna have any meat at this party." We gonna need that testimony one more time.
I said, "Where did you get the food from? I thought you weren't gonna have any meat, really."
She didn't know the food was vegan. All the plates we used for the party were thrifted, so I've been thrifting them ever since the moment that I decided we were going to do this party. I was always looking for white plates. I loved the idea of having mismatched white plates all over the tables. It was definitely my style of being not too fancy, and also obviously secondhand. My mom has a ridiculous amount of utensils, so we just use her reusable utensils for the main course. And the cups that everybody used were mason jars that I thrifted. My friend went to go get me a buggy so I could put them all in, but they honestly want $3 for each of them. Like, are you kidding me? Found that many. Technically we need at least 25 and more for decor. 25 is just for like the guests to drink out of. So Madison's going to ask them if they have a cardboard box, and then we'll load them all up. But everybody was able to drink out of their mason jars, and we had drink dispensers for people to get drinks out of with tea, water, and lemonade. We were able to use reusable chafing dishes. I think you should consider, if you're planning a wedding, is trying to borrow as much stuff as you can from friends and family and things like that, because before you know it, literally like everyone in your life will have anything you could probably need to throw a party like this. So we had mostly reusable chafing dishes, but we had to have a couple extras, of which I purchased. Essentially they're disposable ones, but they're not disposable. They can definitely be reused a lot, which these will. But we also purchased ones that were made in the US from 100% recycled aluminum for the couple extras that we needed for the serving trays. And then of course we had a little bin for anybody's food scraps so that they could be composted at the end of the night. This was my opportunity to get my family to try vegan things and impress them with thinking that vegan things could actually taste good. I remember everyone asking me before this, if it's gonna be a vegan cake, will it still taste good? And yeah, it totally did. Anyway, the only thing there is to point out here is obviously I had to look for a baker who could make our cakes vegan, and I also asked her to make sure there was no plastic packaging, so the cake came in a completely cardboard box, no plastic anywhere in sight, and I was super appreciative of that. This cake was made by someone called Jody Cakes. If you look up Jody Cakes vegan in Houston, you'll find her. The cake was incredibly tall, like too tall, but for the look of it, I had to do it. It was delicious. Literally everyone loved it so much. I also got a small chocolate cake on the side, also completely vegan, as you know. I literally had no one complain to me personally about the food, and that could have been because certain individuals like didn't want to offend me on my day. But I also looked around and watched, and literally everyone enjoyed everything that they had. I'm really glad that that worked out. So I thrifted all of the plates for the cake plates, and then they were all returned to the thrift store as well. However, the forks that I had put out for the cake were compostable forks that I bought for my sister's shower back in, is that 2 years ago now? Maybe a year ago. Obviously I didn't have control over my sister's shower if I could make her use reusables or not, but I did buy compostable utensils for that event, so I had a ton left over, so we just used those for the cake, and then obviously they went into the compost pile. I live somewhere where there is industrial composting, so that was a really great situation for us. My dress was purchased secondhand. It was honestly kind of a challenge because I'm obviously a plus size person. I checked so many sites that were rentable and literally like could find hardly anything in my size and white, let alone something that I liked in my size and white, because my first choice was to go rental, but it just was not working out. And then I started looking at all sorts of regular sites that I know to go to, right? So ThredUp, Poshmark, eBay, but I found this website called, what was it called? I'll put it on the screen for you. And basically it's a site where brides can sell their dresses, and you can talk directly to the person, they can take any measurements that you need, and you can find the exact dress of your dreams. I've come down to the conclusion of there are two styles I really, really like. One is this style. I'm gonna show you this dress. This dress was originally apparently $1,650, and she's selling it for $950. So this is one of the designs I like. It's got like these are called lace appliques, I believe. And then it kind of like isn't too poofy down here, but this is called an A-line dress. And I just really love this detail and how it like flows into the tulle. The only problem is I'm a size 18, this is a size 20, but I did message her and she saw it and she didn't answer me, because I basically started out by asking her if she could come down on the price, because maybe I would feel better about spending the money if it wasn't $950 to potentially get a dress that I would just have to turn around and resell. And then the other styles I like are just complete opposite. But this dress is by a designer from Etsy, and originally they're like, you know, like $850 I think or something. And it's just like this beautiful, like almost vintage style lace, which I just think is gorgeous. That's it from a distance. Two very different styles we're going for, but I thought I would update you on where I'm at with that. I decided to buy the second dress that I showed you in the previous clip, and not the first one that was $950. But I am going to order two dresses secondhand because I cannot make up my mind. This is the one that I showed you, and it came with this like slip white dress thing, but I'm going to try it on so you guys get to see it. I like this. I like the style. I like that it was secondhand, obviously. I might think about trying to find a different slip dress because I think I would like it if it was a little bit less stark white. I don't think stark white is really what we're going for this wedding. The wedding theme was just my style. I don't know what to call it, but that was the feel that I was going for. So the shape of the dress and kind of the tiers of the bottom of it were just perfect for what I was looking for. So while finding secondhand clothes is not the easiest thing or the most comfortable thing having a dress shipped to you, it was obviously really important to me to keep it sustainable in that way, and I could not be happier with the dress that I chose, and also for the fact that it wasn't white. White is supposed to symbolize purity at a wedding, and I have no interest in pretending like I'm pure or like I care about traditions, so we went with this color, and I'm very, very, very happy with my decision. As for my bridesmaids dresses, they did not buy new dresses, and I'm actually super proud of them for being able to go along with this and being as excited as I was. So basically my sister, my matron of honor because she got married before me, she used her dress that she wore to her first wedding. So basically they had to get legally married here in the US because they did their big wedding ceremony over in Mexico. And the dress that she wore to her US wedding, she dyed blue to match our colors. You could not even tell that it was like a DIY. It looked perfect, and I'm so glad that she was willing to do that and that it worked out and looked really good, and that she was able to give that dress another life because it was literally a wedding dress from Torrid, and like where else do you wear a wedding dress to? But now it's blue, so she was able to wear it for this occasion, and also since it's blue now, it's probably more wearable than like a white wedding dress. My other bridesmaid, her name is Kinley. She's my little cousin. I love her to death. So the dress that she wore was actually a dress that her mom used for her vow renewals years ago. I don't even know how many years ago. And the dress was just perfect. The coloring was perfect. The style was perfect. Everything about this dress was exactly what I would want her to wear. And so when they thought about it to use it, I was like, it's literally perfect. And then obviously Madison's outfit is important as well. So we did try to thrift all the pieces for her outfit, but basically we were having a lot of trouble obviously finding a matching set in her size secondhand. So after weeks and weeks and weeks of looking, she basically decided, I think the week before the wedding, that we would just rent a full piece, like all suit.
Babe!
It's a lot easier. It was a lot easier for her to find something to rent, but I was really happy that she did. I think she used Men's Warehouse, maybe AJ's, but it was an incredible service because they literally gave her like every single piece you could ever need, from the pants to the socks. They would give you shoes to the bow tie to the, I think they gave her cufflinks, and it turned out perfect. Everything she was wearing was really, really cute, and I was very happy with that. The shoes that she wore were actually shoes, again, that I made for her on our first anniversary. They did give her shoes with the rental, but she didn't wear them because it looked a little too put together for, again, our low-key taste. It's an interesting concept as I started thinking about what shoes would even go with my outfit, and then I realized, literally, when is anyone gonna see my feet? Yeah, I'm just not gonna wear shoes. You guys don't have to tell me that there were so many other options other than buying flowers, because I'm completely aware, and I'm open to you guys leaving what you did or what you would do or what you've seen in the comments as alternatives to flowers. But I personally really, really love the look of these flowers because they were just so natural and not put together looking. I wanted something that was a little bit unruly, and I'm literally obsessed with my bouquet.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
But I worked with my florist and told her that I wanted to only use things that were made in Texas, grown in Texas, and she actually has her own farm. They grow several things themselves and then obviously keep things in stock from around the world. Most roses, what I learned through this experience, come from Colombia or Ecuador. I didn't really want roses in general, but definitely don't want them if they've traveled all the way from Colombia and then they have to be stored in a refrigerator the entire trip, which is a huge carbon footprint, so not of interest to me. Some of the eucalyptus that she had in stock she did use for the arch, but we used something called East Texas Smilax is what a lot of the greenery was, most of it. And then she said she does keep eucalyptus in stock from California, and so she already had it, and she said she would put that throughout so that it would look green but also give the look of eucalyptus. I just love all of the stuff that she did. I think her work was beautiful. I couldn't be happier with how everything turned out. Like I said, I'm personally going to dry out my bouquet, and there are going to be so many other recommendations in the blog post that I come up with. My bridesmaids donated theirs for other causes, and I'm just keeping mine because I'm fucking obsessed with it. So yes. Alright, so now we come to decor. This is the only area of the entire wedding where I did purchase something new. I purchased 2 things new, and we're gonna get into that. But first, let me say that we rented a lot of things. Obviously, the tent was rented. We didn't go out and buy any of that stuff. We didn't buy any chairs or tables or linens. All of that was rented, and it was honestly for a pretty decent fee. Like, I wasn't mad about it. I thrifted several things for this as well. We thrifted the cake platter, we thrifted the floating candles, I thrifted the vases that all of the candles were in, and that was kind of pretty much all of the decor that we had. I mean, obviously I didn't want to go over the top. I was trying to keep it minimalistic, and I was super, super, super happy with how the white tablecloths looked, with the greenery, with the floating candles. Like, it could not have been more perfect. I am incredibly, incredibly happy with how everything looked, and I'm really happy with it. But those are the things that I thrifted, and then the things that I purchased new, they're just peace signs made of twigs, fallen twigs. I bought them on Etsy. Shout out Etsy, dude. I wish I could have partnered with Etsy for some of my wedding because they're just perfect. Etsy offsets all of their carbon emissions as a company, and it's so funny to think because I found Etsy literally, I'm not kidding, I swear it must have been like 9 years ago, and thought it was the coolest site ever, and now it's like the first place people turn when they're looking for things like this. So just shout out Etsy, you know what I mean? So I bought the peace signs on Etsy. I think they were beautiful. They were meant to be like a photo backdrop, but not that many people took pictures with them because also the arch was a beautiful backdrop before it got, you know, dark. Oh, I haven't talked to you about the arch yet. That is part of this. We're going to get there. Because that is the second thing I purchased new. The peace signs and then the macrame. So I did purchase the macrame, like I said, from someone on Etsy that was handmade. I'll link some of those options below if you want to check them out. This is a giant macrame, and I have nowhere to put it in my house. I didn't have any intention of keeping it, so I'm going to be giving it away on my secret newsletter for someone who does have space in their house to completely enjoy it. So for the arbor, we bought the macrame, but the arbor itself was built with wood that my parents already had laying around at their house. So again, on literally August 8th, when this discussion began, I left my parents' house to come back to my home. I left and my sister sent me this video, which I'll put in here for you to see, and she was like, "Do you think we can build the arbor out of this wood?" And I was like, fuck yeah, we can. My mom and my dad and our neighbor actually worked really hard on putting this all together, and then my sister's husband helped dig the holes to put it into the ground. I literally cannot think of a better backdrop or something that I would have been more grateful for. I think it turned out absolutely beautifully. So highly recommend obviously using reused materials to build things, and also Etsy, shopping from small businesses is an awesome, it turned out magnifique. And the only other thing I bought in this category would be like the confetti and the cones. The little cones are made of old book pages, and they just folded them up into cones, and then we put dried flower petals and birdseed into them for the guests to throw above us when we were walking out. Yeah, those are all the things I bought. Like I said, I thrifted all of the mason jars that everyone was drinking out of at the party that were their cups. Shout out to my cousin if she ever watches this. She is the most helpful person to do things that you didn't even think of. Like, I knew we wanted mason jars for people to drink out of. That was what we were gonna do. But she actually learned how to etch glass on her own. I don't know how she learned this. But basically, she took all of the thrifted mason jars that we had and etched mine and Madison's initials into it, and then the date of our wedding. So all of the mason jars had that etched into them so that the guests could take their cups home at the end of the night, and that would be their gift from us for the wedding. What else is there to say than we thrifted glasses, we used them for the ceremony, we put our actual etching on the glass so that it will always be remembered as our glass, and then we let them take it home as gifts. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then as far as gifts go for us, we basically didn't register for our wedding. We have lived together for 6 years and we don't have a need for anything. And when we need something, we go out and buy it. So we didn't register. We didn't need gifts. I've always been very against the idea of you're getting married and someone should buy you stuff. It's just not really my thing. But behind my back, like I said, my cousin did put together a little gift tree. So basically she used all reused materials. She made little envelopes out of newspaper, and then all of my friends somehow got in contact with her, and they all sent in little money gifts, not physical items, right? So that we could use it on like our honeymoon or for groceries or things that we would normally be buying anyway. And I think that was absolutely perfect. So shout out to all my friends who sent stuff in. That was incredibly sweet, especially since because of everything going on, we kept this ceremony so small. It was cool to leave the party that night and be able to open up all these gifts from all of our friends who weren't there or couldn't be there, or, you know, because of things going on. It's perfect. But those are all of the things I remembered to write down about the wedding and how we planned it so eco-friendly. If you have any questions that I forgot to answer, leave them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Like I said, I'm going to have a blog post with some other things that I researched or learned about that you guys can use to your advantage. Once it's done, it'll be linked below. I'll leave it in a pinned comment. I'm also gonna have a behind the scenes of setting everything up vlog on mine and Madison's channel, and then on my secret video list, I'll talk about some of the drama that went behind it and some of the things that didn't go so perfectly. But honestly, at the end of the day, it was a absolutely stunning, beautiful, everything I could have ever wanted or expected wedding, and we're very happy with it. Thank you guys so much for helping me celebrate this little part of my special day. I hope you learned something, and remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye, guys.